Welcome to my vlog! Last week, our teacher gave us a task, and it is to share something about the past, present, and future. Now, I thought of why not make it personal? With that, I'm gonna share to you my personal life experiences. So, for today's video, let's do the Getting to Know Me challenge! Okay, so what will be the focal point of our discussion? Basically, I'm going to talk about the past discipline that my parents imposed on me and how those contribute to my present, then what will be its impact on my future. Want to know me? Fasten your seatbelts, for we are now about to begin. They say that there are no perfect parents, as there is no perfect discipline. Personally, I would disagree to that. To prove my point, I'm going to share to you two parental disciplines which I would never forget. First was when I was in elementary. Back when I was 10 years old, my father had a bike. It was a mountain bike though, and he loved it so much, to the point that when it rains, he always made sure that the bicycle wouldn't get wet to avoid its parts from rusting. Now, it was late at night, somewhat 7 p.m. in the evening, when I asked Dad if he could let me borrow his bike, since I had an assignment and I need an internet connection. Now, there's an internet cafe about 20 meters away from our house, and I need to get there. Well, I could walk, yes. However, it's nighttime and he wouldn't allow me anyway, so I borrowed his bike. So he agreed. But he said, I just have one condition. When you get there, you need to park the bike inside. By the way, this is the internet cafe, and my dad wanted me to park the bike here. So I said, okay. I left our house and then I went to the internet cafe. When I get there, I noticed that the space is so small. So I assumed that maybe the bike wouldn't fit. And I'm too lazy to try putting the bike inside since there are a lot of people there and what if they will get annoyed at me? So I didn't put the bike inside, rather, I just left it outside and I put it here. So I did my assignment, and when I'm done, I went outside. To my surprise, the bike wasn't there anymore. Fortunately, the owner of the internet cafe was our barangay captain, and he was a relative of ours as well. And so I approached him and then I said, Uncle, I lost Daddy's bike. I just parked it here 2 hours ago. And they were all shocked. So what he did, he immediately grabbed his phone and then he called the barangay police officers. And then he instructed them to search for the blue mountain bike. Now, I was so shocked. I didn't know what to do. Knowing Daddy, he values it so much. And so I waited. 10 minutes passed, 20 minutes, 30 minutes passed. Nothing happened. So finally, I decided to go home and then just tell Daddy what happened. Walking alone at the dark street, I was totally in fear. The surroundings were quiet and peaceful, but my heartbeat is just so loud. Every step just seemed so heavy. Finally, I was near a house. I breathed in and out and continued walking. As I was in front of her gate, I raised my head up and gosh, the bike was there at our garage. I was speechless, so I rushed inside and Daddy was there and I told him, Dad, why is the bike in here? And then he said, well, I knew that you wouldn't obey me, so I followed you and I took the bike home. After he said that, I don't know what I would feel. I mean, my 10-year-old heart was totally insane. I was shocked, relieved at the same time, but guilty as well. That experience for me is just so hard to forget. After that, I realized that Daddy taught me such a great lesson. After that, I learned to not just say yes, but also put that yes into action. From then on, whenever Mommy and Daddy would lend me something, I would always make sure that I could return it to them safely. The second discipline happened 2 years later. This time, I was about to graduate from elementary school. Our class was about to end, summers was approaching. What happened was there's this silly childish thing that went famous in our class, and it's making a temporary tattoo. To make it, we sharpen our pencils and then we scratch our skin like this until it will be wounded. And then we will wait for the scar to develop and the scar will become our tattoo. Now, my daddy is so strict when it comes to these things. He even told me that I shouldn't write anything in my hand because it's just awful to look at. He said that your hands should always be clean. He even told me also that I shouldn't follow other kids vandalizing their hands with drawings because it's just useless and untidy. Now, the tattoo trend happened and it made me want to try it, and so I did. That time, I had a crush, and his initials were, let's say, JC. So I thought of making them as my tattoo. So I get my pencil and I scratch my skin like this. I wrote JC. I put it here. I put JC. Now, it's so painful, it's so stingy, but I just endured it. A week later, the scab develops, or that black thingy that covers up your wound before it turns into a scar. Then it was lunchtime. We went to our grandma's house to eat together. My aunt was sitting beside me, and when I was about to partake my food, she saw the scab. So she grabbed my hand and she said, what is this? What happened to your hand? Is this a scar? And I was so shocked because Daddy was in front of me, so I grabbed it back. And then I said, no, it's nothing. But then Daddy saw it, and you couldn't escape your father. And so he said, get up and let's go home. When we arrived home, I told Daddy everything. And he was so angry. He was just so disappointed at me, plus the fact that I had a crush and I engraved his initials in my hand. I was just grade 6 and that was a big deal. That made Daddy so mad. But more than his reaction, his punishment was what shattered me. He said, because of your mistake, you are not allowed to proceed to high school. That made me cry so hard. I don't want to stop schooling. It's not my intention to do so. I was just persuaded and I was curious and so I tried. But I knew I was wrong and I wouldn't do it again. Days passed, I continued asking sorry to him until he accepted it. Then he made me understood why he was angry. He said it is just for my protection. He said, quote unquote, while you are still young, you have to learn how to classify what trends are to follow and what are not. That doesn't mean that because it's trending, you have to do it as well. Because as a Christian and as an individual, you have to know how to prohibit yourself. He also said, what if I just allowed you to do those kinds of things? Well, you will grow up believing that it is the right thing to do. And so in the future, you wouldn't just do temporary tattoos, but also engrave permanent images on your skin. Another thing is, if I allowed you to join whatever trend is popular, you will grow up trying whatever your friends will do. Now, do you think that is just about that simple pencil drawn tattoo? It is not. It's about your future. If you always join your friends, there's a great chance that you will try more extreme, unethical, and erroneous deeds in the future. That is why, while you are still young, I want you to remember this. Choose your friends carefully, and it should be you to influence them good deeds, not them to teach you wrong ones. There, I understood everything. I learned so much, and it is just so bright. So, those were my past experiences. Actually, there are still a lot more, but we'll just talk the two first. Now, how did those past experiences shape my present? Basically, it made me to the person I am today. If you remember in my introduction, I said that I disagree to this. Because for me, my parents' discipline is perfect. Everything that they taught me is reasonable, and everything was clearly understood. Because of them, I am this kind of person. Today, whenever I acquire things, I protect and treasure it. And whenever I am surrounded by diverse people, yes, I make friends with them, but I am vigilant in following their actions. With that, I am thankful. So, to end, at all times, our lives are being affected by our past experiences, present situations, and future aspirations. Yes, we may have unique individual experiences, but let us use them to make us a better person. As Sean Patrick Flannery puts it, do something today that your future self will thank you for. How about you? Did you make your past a positive influence on your future? I hope so.